Hey guys. So I was thinking about writing this as a blog post, but I thought it'd be a little bit easier to follow if I just made a video. So this is actually my first video on the 93 Agency blog. So let's get at it. If you've read through the blog post, then you'll know a little bit of a definition of sustainable business and a definition of sustainable marketing. So I would suggest let's read through that first and then read through the short paragraph I have about what we're actually going to be discussing. It's kind of like a little mock shift case study. And then I'm going to go through the approach I would have when discussing things with that business. And keep in mind, this might not be the same approach if that I've had with previous clients or the same approach that I would have with a future client. It's very individual and specific to your business. We don't really run off like templates or things like that. I want to dive into your business. If I don't really see any red flags, I might not ask some of these questions. If I do see red flags, there might be more questions that I ask you. It really depends. So yes, we went over, it's someone who's opened a CrossFit gym. They want to invest in marketing to get some more members signed up. Their original kind of plan when they approach me is they want to fill up their on-ramp class because that's how they bring members in to their main program. They've been running their own social media. They get coaches to like post periodically, and they post, things that they see. Maybe they're reposting, kind of like motivational quotes and things like that, reposting athletes in the gym, which is great, and coach content and just taking like stories around the gym for their Instagram. So first, the first thing I would do is I would evaluate where you truly want to send your leads. Is it necessarily an on-ramp, or do you want to have some multiple avenues? So I think that most people now understand that although CrossFit is very valuable and life-changing, it might not be the one thing for everybody, right? So you might have people come in who are still hesitant about group training. And that doesn't mean that group training is wrong for them, but it might be the wrong time to bring them into it. But you still want to help them and bring fitness and health into their lives, help them lose weight, whatever their goals are. So you might approach with a different strategy than an on-ramp class program. Maybe you have like an on-ramp one-on-one sessions that leads to the class program, or maybe you have these like private group sessions that never actually have a program that leads to the group training, but there's always an option for them to switch into it if that's what they like. And they're going to be exposed around the gym to those other options as they see the group training going on at the same time. They see one-on-one, they see athletes doing extra programming, they see all those things. They're exposed to all the different options you have. I think it's also important that there's some people who might not want to go through the progressions of the Olympic lifts. They might not be comfortable with a barbell, and they might not ever actually want to be comfortable with a barbell. They want a good workout. They want to sweat. They want the community aspect. So offering stuff for them, offering programs for older athletes, maybe 50 plus. Those are all different options. Just you want to make sure that the way you promote them is not confusing. So this is very important that you're not just like throwing a bunch of things and seeing what sticks. You want to kind of highlight the consumer journey. So you have someone come to your website, and it's very easy for them to funnel into their desired class. So I think it's very important to have multiple options for members, because CrossFit classes might not be for everyone, or at least everyone starting off. It really depends what that person is looking for, and you don't want to kind of segment off a big part of the market kind of by only offering one thing. Providing other options can actually be more profitable for you, your business, and your coaches. So, you might have a lot of part-time coaches right now in your business. They're working something else and then they're taking on these group classes. But what if you're able to offer them a way to kind of be professional coaches? What if you offer them a chance to do one-on-one programming, both online and in person, taking on more clients at a higher pay rate, which is a higher pay rate for both your business and for the coaches, because you can only really have so many people in your space and in each class. So if you max out, you kind of almost need more space or more coaches, which increases your expenses. So there needs to be a kind of a scalable option where it works for the coaches, it works for the members, and it works for you, and it doesn't involve a heavy investment on your side where you might go into debt or have to take on big loans to kind of grow, and then you're waiting on getting more people into the classes, and there's a little bit more turnover there. I think it's very important to have multiple avenues of income. It's just kind of mitigating risk. It's just basic business 101. Secondarily, I think that it's great that these people have taken a start on getting on social media. They're posting, they're doing the right things. They're getting coaches to help out and provide content. What's the first thing I would do is make sure that there's like a central place where all this content is going to. So instead of people just posting immediately on Instagram or Facebook, there's actually like a Google Drive folder or some organization behind it, and there's one person managing it. You want to keep things consistent. Consistent is key when branding. I think that's like number one thing in my books is consistency. So making sure there's a place for all the photos, all the videos, and that people aren't necessarily posting them right away, because perhaps if you're posting things right away, you have 1 week where you're kind of only targeting one demographic, or you're only posting, say, about the classes. But if you would have waited, held off, and kept that content for the next week when you didn't have any content like that, you could have kind of varied your content and posted different things throughout the week so that you're hitting each kind of category that's laid out in a strategy. And that's kind of where I come in, is creating that strategy, making sure that you're hitting all those things. And on a consulting basis, I'm overviewing and making sure, hey, you need to be more consistent with this. Hey, here are your targets for the week, things like that. So another avenue of generating new business is through your coaches. Having your coaches posting stuff on their own channels about what they're doing at your gym, kind of creating their own niche and expertise. So maybe you have someone who's really great at nutrition, someone else who's really knowledgeable about mobility, someone else who's very technical with Olympic lifting. Having them generate that content and you're reposting it, or you're posting it and they're reposting it on their accounts, but making sure that they're building their accounts and having people coming to their accounts that then leads back to your accounts, if that makes sense. So you want to make sure they're tagging you. You want to make sure that they're really kind of building their own personal brand, because that's only going to help your business. Okay, so let's talk about consistency. So consistency is number one. We want to make sure the communication style is the same. Even how we're putting the hashtags is staying very similar. You might use different ones. You might use some in a different context, but you're usually keeping things kind of the same, so that if people search those hashtags, it's consistently your information that's coming up. You want to keep graphics kind of similar style. You're not just using a bunch of different stock graphics. You're sticking to one type for each specific post. So say like a tip graphic or like a promotional graphic. They're all going to kind of have the same branding, the same color scheme, the same text, font, layout, logo use, whether you're going to put it in the graphic or not. You want to keep that consistent. You also want to keep consistent your calls to action. So it might get confusing for someone if one time you're directing to them the website, another time you're directing them somewhere else, like a YouTube or so on and so forth. You want to make sure that, okay, all your tip graphics are going to YouTube. All your video posts are getting people to call your gym for a free trial or no sweat intro. Things like that is very important. Another point on consistency is that when things show up in the Instagram Explore feed, it needs to be recognizable. People see it and they see it's from your business. So whether that means getting a professional videographer, photographer to come in and all the photos in your gym are kind of their style of editing and photo use, so that people recognize it and know it's coming from you. That's definitely a great option. A lot of times, if you have 100 members or so, one of them might be a photographer or a budding photographer that you can kind of make a deal with them to take photos, whether that means for a membership or you're paying them a certain amount per hour. Either way, I think there's probably people in your gym that would be more than willing to help create professional content for you. So let's bring things back to the sustainable model. As you notice, I never really talked about running a big campaign or something short term like that. We're not going to come in and kind of take things over for a short amount of time and hand things back to you and have things go back downhill. We want to definitely use campaigns when they come up. So whether that's like a summer promotion or a student special, things like that are important, or when you're launching a new program or a new website or have a new location. That's all great and good, but we want to make sure it fits into a long-term strategy with what you want to do overall. If you're starting off with a low ad budget, it might be just we start off with some boosting posts, some general account building, so bringing in new eyes in the local area to your business that then you're using the post to actually convert them. If you have a bigger budget, then maybe we want to look at creating some funnels with some landing pages and get people converting there into certain programs. But I don't think this is something that we just want to hit off and run for a month and then that's it for the season. You want to build something that's sustainable and consistent over time. That's where I think it's also important to look at your business model to make sure that aligns with the sustainable marketing plan. You want both kind of to work in synchronization. So where I might use an example of that is, do you run an on-ramp program like every 2 months where people have to go through it to then get into class? But what if someone, the on-ramp program is halfway through and they want to join? Do they have to wait again? Because let me tell you, if they're motivated then, it can be very difficult to get someone, to make the decision to step into a gym and be motivated. They're going to go to your competitor. They're going to go somewhere else that they can go right now, tomorrow, today, within the next 10 minutes. They're just going to go on Google Maps and find what's closest to them, give them a call. Are they open? Can they come in? Perfect. So you want to make sure that there's always a program that people can start right away. So it's very important that we're not focusing on short term, we're focusing on long term, and we're focusing on client retention. So it's a lot less expensive to invest in keeping a client than it is to get a new client. So that's why it's so important to have your services and your business being very sustainable and value providing before we get into marketing and bringing new people in. Because of course, with any marketing program, not everyone that's clicking on the website or coming into the gym necessarily is going to be a perfect fit. Of course, we're optimizing ads, we're optimizing content to try to get the best leads possible. But there's always going to be a few people who aren't going to fit in. You might have a different rate of conversion there versus keeping people around. Because if you have someone in your gym, they've been there for a while, then that they are your target demographic, and having them leave is a lot more expensive to you than investing in keeping them. So it's important that you have ways to make sure that you're keeping them in there, and that at the end of the day, your service is valuable. You're actually creating change in their lives and you're actually delivering. And I know this might be kind of something that's I don't even shouldn't even need to say, but I've seen it before where people come in and at first it's exciting, but at the end of the day they're not getting results and it's not fitting them. People are trying to make that member fit into their style versus making sure that you're focusing on the individual and generating results for each individual. So if you're losing a lot of members and that's something that comes up, it might not be something I ask right away, but if it's just something that comes up in conversation or you mention to me that times are hard right now, you're losing members, you need to take a break from marketing because you're losing members, that's a big red flag for me. And that's where I would kind of focus on fixing your services, making your business sustainable before you get into marketing and bringing in new people, because otherwise you're bringing in new people to again lose them later, and that's so much more expensive. Okay, so that's as far as I'll go for the case study for now. If you have any questions, you can always email me at getsocial@93agency.com. It's important to remember that our goal is, one, to save you time. So that's kind of taking some of the responsibilities of social media off your hands so that you can focus on other things in your business, and whether that be kind of helping your coaches, improving your sustainable business practices and your actual service, or even just outside of your business, hanging out more time with family, letting the business kind of run itself if you're at that stage. Number 2 is we want to save you money. So that's very important. We want to make sure that your marketing is optimized and you're not kind of spending tons of time, posting things that may not be actually what you should be posting or posting all the time. Making sure you have actual marketing strategy in place, especially for your social media and your online presence, because that's where most of marketing is nowadays. That's pretty much it. Kind of covers everything right there. So again, reach out, get social at 93agency.com. Check out more of our blog posts or case studies. There's going to be more of these kind of videos to come. Leave a comment if you like these videos, and I'll make sure I'll get more posted up. Thanks for reading and tuning in and watching.